Hello folks, thought I'd make a quick video after receiving an email from one of my viewers. He's asked to remain anonymous, so I'm going to call him Steve. But he sent me this email. It says, "Hi Jim, I subscribe to the channel, enjoy it, and I've also leased 2 cars on the back of your best monthly deals, one for my wife and one for my daughter. Thought it worth dropping you an email on a few mistakes I made when leasing at first, which I didn't make on the second car, but have been costly. Number one, when I leased the car, I obviously took out insurance a few days before I got the vehicle. When asked the question, will I be the registered keeper, I said yes. I had no idea the leasing company were on the V5 and kept it." Right, this is a very important point. It's not usually going to be an issue. There's actually, we'll get to it in a second, but there's a claim going through at the moment. The insurance company have questioned this, but it's not a problem because if he had have said it's registered by the leasing company instead, it wouldn't have been more expensive. They wouldn't have declined it, nothing like that. So that's not going to be an issue. But when you do lease a car and you're asked that question on the insurance, you say, "No, I'm not the registered keeper. No, I'm not the owner." And you'll get an option then for leasing company. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Just something to remember. You should always do it. And number two, I didn't take out gap insurance. So 19 payments in, the car's a write-off and only 2 issues have arisen. Number one, he declared the V5 was in his name. It wasn't, so the insurance company causing a few issues, although I think this was okay. This will be okay. Number two, the payout offer on the write-off will be a lot less than what the lease company need to settle. Not sure quite what that value is yet. It's also worth noting that the insurance company and the leasing company seem to decide between them what's acceptable, and basically he's left to see what they've agreed. And he said, clearly, I hope the leasing company will push the insurance company for as high a payout as possible. Worth maybe making newbies aware of these issues. So I've gone back to Steve and basically just said to him that, pretty much all my leasing content these days has an advert for car to cover in. And we'll talk more about that in a sec. We'll actually run a quote through in a sec on this particular car. Really, if you're not sure what you're doing when you're buying insurance, you should use a broker. But literally just that thing. You're not the registered keeper of the car when you're leasing it. Okay, so just say no. I sort of went back to him and said, I feel like I'm doing my bit. Maybe it's sort of the leasing company's job or duty of care to make you aware of some of these things. But they probably did send you a little leaflet. They probably did try and sell you gap insurance. He's come back and said the insurance company are being okay about the insurance thing. On gap insurance, I was well aware of it and have watched your video, but not until something happens do you realise the consequences of not having it. I suppose my liability may be limited as I've had the car nearly 2 years, but he says, as you can imagine, having it just a few weeks and this happening with the depreciation as soon as you drive out of the showroom, he's suggesting it could be a lot worse. His wife had quite a bad accident in the car, by the way, rolled it in a field. Fortunately, nobody injured. There's an assumption that Steve is making there that I'm a little bit worried about. He thinks because he's had the car 2 years that he won't be massively affected by this. Actually, if the write-off had occurred within the first few months, or the first year, the insurance company would probably have given him a new car replacement, and then he'd have to basically sort that out with the leasing company, how they wanted to deal with that. As he's had the car 2 years and used car prices are starting to drop now at quite a rate, he may find that the insurance payout is a lot less than he may have expected, and the leasing company may also want to charge for their missed payments or for a percentage of the missed payments. They may have been planning to get some profit when the car sort of was returned at the end of the lease. So they could have basically a separate claim against him. It will be one bill at the end of the day. They'll come to him and say, right, you should have been leasing this car for another year. We've only got this and we expected the car to be worth this. Therefore, we want X thousands of pounds from you. It could be nothing. It could be that he's really lucky and it's nothing, but it could be a good few grand. So I'm now just going to run through a quick gap insurance quote on Car2 cover. And as you can see, you can buy this if you're paying cash, if you're on a contract hire or finance lease, if you're on a PCP, self-arranged personal loan. As long as you buy it when you first acquire the car, that's the big issue. And it doesn't have to be on a new car. It could be a used car as well. So this car was a Ford Focus 1 litre EcoBoost ST line. I'm going to say it's worth 30 grand. I think it's a shade under 30 grand. I'll say it's worth 30. Brand new, 0 mileage. I'm recording this on the 11th of December, so I've put that in today's date. Who's the vehicle supplied by? Leasing company or contract hire or lease? How's your vehicle acquired? Contract hire or finance lease? What will you be using the vehicle for? I'm going to say social, domestic, and pleasure, including to and from the place of work. Manufacturer of the vehicle is Ford. Period of cover required, we'll say 3 years. So it is a 3-year lease. I'm taking it out immediately, so I'm going to get a better price. And what's the monthly lease amount? I'm going to say 300 quid. I don't know what it would be. So that would have cost 159 quid for 3 years cover. That's not 159 pound a year. That's 159 pounds for 3 years. Obviously, the gap insurer has less risk in the first year because there is that new car replacement on a lot of insurance policies. And that new car replacement obviously mitigates some of their potential loss risk. Yeah, 159 quid for 3 years cover. And that gives you also 3 months advance rentals for a replacement vehicle. So say it's all written off. In Steve's case here, he's written his car off. He wants to lease a replacement one. They'll pay up to 3 months towards another one. A-rated major insurer. You'll find a lot of gap insurances with unrated insurers. Not all by any means, but quite a lot out there is with unrated insurers. The rating of an insurer is about how much money they've got behind them, how financially secure they are. It's actually a financial strength rating. And this is an A-rated major insurer. Unlimited dealer accessories fitted before delivery, unlimited factory fit options. Not all gap insurances will cover those. Up to 250 quid towards your motor insurance excess. So you'll actually pay 250 quid of your car insurance excess as well. The cover's in place for anyone that's actually insured to drive your vehicle, and unlimited use in countries in the European Economic Area. And then you've got all the different documents there to go with it. So you can get a good read through everything before you go ahead and buy. And of course, if you give them a ring on 01438 870 615 and quote Jim10, you'd get that for 149 quid. So the point here, I mean, that is a shameless plug for one of my sponsors, Car2Cover. However, the point here is not to do an ad for Car2Cover. The point here is to show you something that's just genuinely happened to one of my viewers who sent me an email, and he basically wants me to share this with you so you consider getting gap insurance at the time you take out your lease. Potentially, you could be thousands of pounds out of pocket if you don't. Say you do your 3-year lease, the car's fine, no issues, no, it's not written off. Then you've lost 150 quid, haven't you? 160 quid if you don't call them and use my discount code. It's up to you. This one's 159 quid. Let's say, for the sake of argument, it's a £100,000 Tesla. It's going to cost you 229 quid for 3 years cover. So it's not the end of the world. The maximum you're covered for is 50 grand, but that means the maximum amount that they pay out. Therefore, say you've got a £100,000 car and it's written off after 6 months and it's lost 40 grand of its value or something, they'll pay up to 50. I don't think you see too many gap insurance claims over 50 grand, but I don't know, don't take my word for it. So just a couple of little reminders in this one, really. Remember, the leasing company is the registered keeper of the vehicle. And remember to think about gap insurance. So let's say you bought that Ford for cash from a franchise dealer, and you wanted 3 years cover on that. You get different kinds of gap insurance then, and I've done a separate video about gap insurance, and I suggest you go and check that one out next. It's just over there, and it should explain everything you need to know about gap insurance. Thanks for watching.